Now I can hear you. You can hear
Can
me
you hear
okay?
me now?
Yes, can hear you now. You should be in a commercial, Eric. Actually, you look
Very
like
good.
you're in a commercial.
Yes. I'm
Yes,
cruising along. I have to run to my car, but I'm paying attention.
that's awesome. You should be in a commercial for like Dramamine or something. Hi, Karen. And JJ, how are you?
Hi, Derek. Excellent. Thank you.
And Jeannie Josie. Jean, remind me. How does she say it? Jeannie or Jean?
Jeannie.
Okay, excellent. I'm in a public zone of our office, so it's going to be a little bit background noisy for this training. I apologize, but that's where all of our stuff for our listing presentation is, and so nothing I can do about that. So anyway, what we're going to go over today is how to use the really glossy and fancy CBDP listing presentation that all offices and all agents have. It's part of that. Sorry, I'm sure that's really loud. It's part of that AVP that I've talked about. You pay a fee every month to belong to our company, and this is truly one of the best benefits, I think, of being part of our company. Hi, Lynn. Michael, nice to see you both. Good. Just a second. Okay. So the listing presentation, I'm hoping you have it in your office. Since you don't have an OM, I don't have anyone to go to and say, hey, do you have all this stuff? So Eric's kind of our go-to guy, and you know, ideally you'll have someone in a position that is going to be able to put all this stuff together for your office so that it's ready for the agents. But in the meantime, I'm just going to show you what the pieces are, and we're going to talk about how to best use them so that you can make the best impression possible in your listing presentations. Okay, so you can be off and just ask questions as we go. This is, I hope it's not just me lecturing and showing things and then saying, I want a lot of interaction if possible. So anyway, go ahead. So tell me if this piece looks familiar. This is a hardbound cover for the listing presentation that marketing has put together for all the independent offices. Those are all things.
I haven't seen that.
You have not seen this?
No.
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 JJ, do you have them all or what? I thought that they were brought to you on the first, or during that opening thing.
No. I don't remember seeing that piece.
Okay. Excellent. So what I'm going to show you is let's just say it's going to be abstract for you, but I will make sure as soon as this call is over to get on the horn with Grand Junction and say, dude, as my kid would say, dude, Telluride needs these pieces. Okay? All right. So I'll go over it, and then this is being recorded, so maybe when you get the things later in the week or early next week, you'll be able to go back and watch this and go, oh, this is what he was talking about. Okay. Anyway, this is the binder for our listing presentation. Your office will get a couple hundred of these probably. Each agent essentially gets 5 free listing presentations. You'll probably get a few more than that, but it's a hardbound thing that we use a machine to glue pages into. It's really well done. It says Y Coldwell Banker on the side.
I'm going to put it on.
Got a nice kitchen. On the back it says committed excellence in reverse, and the Coldwell Banker distinctive properties. So this is very company specific. It's not office specific. We didn't make a cover for Telluride and a cover for Sun Valley and a cover for et cetera, et cetera. But the listing presentation pages themselves are office specific. So this is meant to just be a cover for whatever you put in there, and it's a full spread of a kitchen. It could be in Telluride. It could be in Sun Valley. It probably couldn't be in Grand Junction. No, I didn't say that. It could be in Grand Junction. As long as there's no Grand Junctionites on here, we can sort of do that, right? You're not going to tell on me? Okay.
We'll keep it quiet.
Okay, good. At any rate, this can be used, it's ideally for the listing presentation, but if you have other thoughts for it, if you had a CMA, whatever, you can stack this thing with, I think, up to 50 or 60 pages, okay? And I'll show you how to do that in a minute, but really this can be This can be a really handy thing, but it's only a one-time use. You can't put a bunch of pages in here, glue it together, and then a few days later, okay, that was good, rip them out, let's do a different one, because the glue only works once. It was like being in high school shop, you know what I mean? Just kidding. So the glue only works once. You can't keep reusing these, but you'll have a lot of these hardcover things in your office to be able to use.
Now, Derek,
Sweet. Yep.
we did get the binding unit, so I'm not sure if we received a box of the content also. Let me ask Josephine.
Okay. Well, wouldn't that be fun to have the machine but not the contents? It's like, hey, here's the wood mill, but you don't have any trees, so have fun with that, right? So we'll get on that. Hi, Ms. Walsh. Congratulations on another closing. You. Jeez. Woman's in Florida for 6 months and she had like 9 deals happen. Okay, so that's the outside, and that's cool, and it's great. It's in a hardcover thing, and it's bound really nicely. It's not a wire or a plastic comb thing. You don't staple it together. You don't put it in a manila folder and say here. But it's just the cover, and you don't judge books by covers. Well, I do, but you shouldn't. So it's the contents that are important, and each agent gets 5 really in-depth listing presentations. It's about 40 pages. It goes into everything that we do. It goes into everything that the corporate company does. It talks about local markets. We redo them every year so that it's up to date with Sun Valley stats or Telluride stats or what have you. So each agent essentially gets 5 of these printed on super high gloss paper. It's a very high, it's a very sophisticated piece, I think, compared to what a lot of other agents in other offices are doing. Okay, it's all going to be backwards. So is that what Michael's objecting to, that it's all backwards? So then I see him, you're like, just.
No, I just wanted to.
Nope, you're muted.
There you go.
I just wanted to ask the question on, will we have some blank paper that we can use that's that same glossy? Because we have a listing presentation. This would be great.
Yes.
Part of our listing presentation, then our CMA would go in, then our, what's the SWOT report and stuff like that. So, but it'd be nice to have it all on the same paper.
Right. And each office is essentially responsible for their supplies and stuff. We use
Well, all we need to know.
we use this hammer mill laser print. It's not quite as high quality, but it's not just paper. It's photographic paper. And so I was going to talk about that in a minute, Michael, that whatever you put in there, you want to have be higher quality. You don't want to just make a bunch of duplicates. Exactly. Unless you're doing like a 40-page CMA or 15 pages of plats or something. You don't need to do those on super high quality. But anything that is promotional about you, about the office, about the company, should be on higher grade paper. I'm assuming in your office you've got a copier and you've got different levels of paper that you use. So just make sure you have a box of
Derek,
higher
can you show
grade
us that
paper.
paper again so we make the hammer mill?
Yeah. It's the hammer mill laser print with a butterfly on it. What I'll do, Karen, is my OM will put together a list of all of our supplies that we use for this sort of thing, and she'll send it to you so that you, whoever's in charge of ordering things, will have that information. Okay?
Hey, Derek.
Yeah.
We have found the binding machine and the pieces that go inside the presentation. When we're done with the meeting, I'll go through everything and I'll let you know exactly what we have.
Okay, Jeannie, was that you sleuthing around, and or who's that with you, Karen?
This is Josephine Felenius.
Oh,
Say hello.
hi there.
Hi, how are you?
Fine. So someone found all the pieces.
Oh, I had it all right there. Just no one. We weren't
Excellent.
using it, so there was no.
Well, yeah. I mean, it's like ordering those food things. If you don't have a cookbook, how do you know what to do with it? So that's good.
Josephine has a question.
Okay.
So we've been using the hammer mill for our printing for a long time, but I just found a much more comparable, well-priced product from Xerox that's available through Quill. So just for your information, and we're going to try it out right now. I just ordered a case of it. So
Excellent.
But it's the same, all the specs are the same.
If you could
About
tell
half the
Karen what
price.
the brand and the weight is, maybe Karen, you can email me that. And
Can't hear you.
We can't hear you, Derek.
if you wanted to send me, no, are you not hearing me?
I can hear you.
I can hear you.
Okay.
Karen, maybe your computer's on mute.
Yeah, there
Okay.
you go.
So Josephine, if you want to tell Karen what that paper was and have Karen email me, that would
Yeah, I can. Yeah, we can just when it comes in, I can shoot you a photo of it or something.
Okay. So as I said, this is about 40 pages long, and it starts with our commitment. I know this is backwards for you, but it's the company's mission statement, and I hope you've looked at that. It really resonates with me. I've said this in videos before. I'm a lifelong educator, and mission statements are important, and the fact that this company has one, and it ends with, "We pledge to deliver truly remarkable service." To me, that's in my email tag. To me, that's what distinguishes what we do from all the others. And so to lead your listing presentation with that is a pretty good thing. I'm not going to go page by page other than to say there's a lot in here about, it's supposed to sound like you, even though it's written for all 240 of our agents. So it says something like, "My commitment to you." It's boilerplate, but the person you're having your listing presentation with doesn't know that all of our other agents have this too, right? Your job is to go through this thing, pull out pages you think are irrelevant or don't sound like you, and then be able to talk it through with your client as if you created this. So it's a balance of making it look like you, as well as leveraging the support that you have with this company. So figure out ways to talk that through to make it sound like, you're doing all this work, but you've also got a great support network behind you. Okay? So what all is in here?
I
Go
have
ahead.
a question.
Yep.
I know there's a balance between maintaining the company brand and not diluting, the powerfulness of the presentation. But is there an option to get that presentation in editable format if we want to use some of the pages but maybe tweak them a little bit to be our own personal, or is it is what it is?
It is what it is, in part because of the quality control. What you can do, this is available as a PDF in IQO, and I'll show you where that is. And so the most tweaking you could do, Lynn, is deleting pages if you know how to do that from the PDF, or just pulling the pages out from here. Like, oh, I don't really care about these 3 pages, get rid of them. That's totally fine. But you understand that allowing everyone to just like customize each page would, next thing you know, there's pictures of cats, and that's really
I get it.
not what we want. I gotta get a chair. But I'll talk about more customization in just a minute, because there are some things you can do from an agent standpoint that will allow you to make this feel much more like yours. Okay. But the idea is that, like this page, for instance, is all about our Distinctive Angels service. Distinctive Angels being the monthly community service or the quarterly community service that offices do. And this is all Sun Valley pages. This is all Sun Valley images. Yours will, well, I don't know what you're going to have, but we have shirts that say Coldwell Banker Distinctive Angels, and so all the photos try to show that, and it's really a piece in here. Is it going to help you sell a home? No, but it's going to help you convince that client that you're worth working with, because not only are you a great agent, but you're a great community member. And in a town like Telluride, even with second, third homeowners, that matters, because they want to know that they're working with someone that cares about where they're buying a home. It's got a little bit of history in here. Again, I'm not going to walk through this because you guys can all do this. Maybe a sales meeting. Eric, not to tell you what to do, but maybe a sales meeting, half that could just be dedicated. Let's take this thing apart and let's make sure everybody knows what's in it, so there's no surprises when you're walking through and you're sharing this with a client and they're like, "What's this?" And you're like, "I don't know." You don't want to do that, because again,
we'll do it on Monday.
Sorry?
We'll do it on Monday.
Okay. So that's the piece that everybody gets. And I'll show you the melting process in a minute. But the way our office works, Eric, and I'm not telling you what to do, but our OM, she's the best OM in the world. There's no one better. She has about 12 of these all set up, unbound, just sitting here waiting. Why does she have them unbound? Why doesn't she just bind them and make it easier? Because here's where we get into some customization. In addition to those pages I was just showing you, every agent, and I'm hoping this has happened for Telluride, and if not, they're working on it. Every agent gets these 2 pages made for them to go into their listing presentation, probably in the front, maybe in the back, probably not in the middle. This first one, and again, it's all backwards, I'm sorry about that, is an About Me. It's the bio sheet with all of this agent's contact info, her bio, and ideally, she hasn't been in the business very long, there's room down here for testimonials. I have 2 or 3 testimonials. So this would probably go, for me, because I'm an egotist, this would go at the front of my listing presentation, okay? There's also a page, and this could go right after, or it could go at the end. It's basically available for notes. Encourage your buyer, your seller to use this to mark it up. Hopefully you're sharing information that they'll want to write down. So these 2 pages are, each agent gets 5 of these pairs of pages to use as you see fit. So the reason that we don't bind ours ahead of time is because that would prohibit, you can only bind once. You can't add pages once it's been bound. That would prohibit an agent from putting in their specialized pages into this. So now we just slip those in, and now let's say I lead with this, and then all the rest follows, okay? All right, more customization. Like if you have pages about, if you have a bio page that you like, Michael and Lynn, you know, maybe you guys have a page of you fishing and skiing and Tellurideing it up, right? To me, that's a sales point. That distinguishes you from other agents. Maybe you want that in there. Create your own. There's a great program called Canva. It's free, canva.com, where you can just make stuff. Use PowerPoint if you're good at that. Send me some photos and some text, and I'll put something together for you. That's kind of what I do, not on the side, but I do a lot of that for my agents and others in the other markets. One of the pages I've made for a team here is, I'm sorry, this is backwards. It's called Notable Sales. Okay, and it's 8 sales they've made in the last couple of years of high-end sales. Okay, so it's got photos of all their sales. It's got the list price. We haven't talked about this, but we really, in our office in Sun Valley, we only use list price because using the sales price gets us in trouble with other agents. It gets us in trouble with buyers and sellers. So anytime we're promoting sales, we use list price.
Can you explain that? That doesn't make any sense to me. What's wrong with using sales prices? How does that get you in trouble?
Well, a buyer might be upset that someone knows that we're promoting how much they actually got it for.
Well, in our county, it's public record, so it's not a secret.
It's all public record unless it's undisclosed. Sometimes people purchase the undisclosed, but it's opened up cans of worms that we don't want. And usually the list price is higher, so in a way it's a better promotion. So this home was listed for 1.1, sold for $990. I'd rather say list price 1.1.
So you say on their list price so that it's disclosing that it's not the sales price.
Each of these says list price all the way across, okay? And so,
Okay, well, that's good.
And these are both listings and stuff that she sold from the buyer's standpoint, okay?
Right.
So it's got her logo on, the team's logo on here, and it's also got a total amount of volume sold in the last 5 years. Basically, you're just trying to promote yourself. People like to run with winners. They like to list with people who get the job done. So when you can say, look at, this is just a smattering, 8 high-end properties I've sold, list price where they were, address, whatever, total volume I've done, total sides I've done, all that stuff is going to put you in a better position. So someone's computer is making some noise, but I can handle it, I suppose. I can make that page for you if you send me the things. Anytime I do stuff, I need the assets. That's the issue. I can't go into Telluride MLS and grab Michael and Lynn's production. So you'd have to generate that stuff and come through. It's just talking about the Shea Buxton machine. Oh, do you mind? Okay. Similar to the listing presentation we're doing, this agent, Dana, has just made, hi Dana, has just made a home book for one of their high-end listings north of town. It's got about 12 pages. It's not a listing presentation. They've already got the listing, but it's to sit at the home. We have these more glue folders. This one's got a clear cover and a blue back. Jennifer can tell you how to order those, Eric. And again, it just binds things in there. It's on high grade paper. And so if you have the wherewithal to do that, great. And if not, maybe I can always be of service. I can't always do it, but I can maybe help you figure out how to do it. That was just sort of a digression. But the point is that with your higher end stuff, you want to be generating some of these things. Craig Hogan at your Global Luxury thing talked about the touch of print and that affluent buyers like the touch, right? So,
hey, Derek.
So,
yeah.
Derek?
The piece that you just had in your hands, where it's just a piece on the property itself, did you print all those pages, or did Colwell print them?
We printed them here. Sun Valley we're sort of grandfathered. Most offices do charge after a certain number of color copies. Agents start getting charged. We don't here yet, but we probably will. So agents have a little bit more liberty. I sit here next to the printer sometimes and I'm like, oh my God. But anyway, we printed those here on our copy machine.
So, hey, Derek, on another point, I mean, Lynn can do what you showed us with that, sold 8 listings. She can put that together. Can you just send us what it looks like? And, we don't need you to have you to do it. So.
Yep, absolutely. So
Okay.
that one was horizontal because it comes from a horizontal presentation they had. Whereas if I was doing it for this, I would probably make it vertical. But, it's not the worst thing in the world to have a horizontal page or two and a vertical thing, I don't think. I think people are okay with that.
Okay.
What else could go in here? You could put something about the house. If this is a listing presentation that on a home that's been on the market, or a home that is got a reputation in town or whatever, and you've taken a couple of photos, you could put a couple pages in here about the home. Does it feel like stalking? Maybe, but it also could feel like, dang, they've already done some work on representing, on exposing me. Wow. Something to think about. Keeping in mind, though, that if you do that, then this thing is only good for that one home, right? You're going to ask later, should you leave this with the seller? It's going to be up to you. But if you only get 5 of these, truly, so it's something to think about. Okay.
How much are they?
Boy, that's a good question. You can purchase additional ones for, I don't want to say, I think it's under $10.
Okay.
I'll find out.
In all of our listing presentations, there's always pictures of the house. There's always a SWOT analysis of the positives and negatives of it in our presentation. So we
We can afford $10.
yeah, we can afford the $10. So
Yeah. And so if you're talking about like a CMA and having that could be a 2-piece thing, right? Like this can stand on its own, or you can put that in here. You have this, and then you also have the CMA done in a nice folder. I mean, it's not always the case that the more is better, but I could certainly see a seller being impressed that you not only have a listing presentation, but you have this thing over here about the home itself. So it depends on your feel and what you know about the client and that sort of thing. I'll show you how to. Oh, here's a couple more things. All these things live in IQO, by the way, and I'll make sure that we go over that in a second. But you've heard about our CB marketing packages. If this is a home, you're going to use a CB2 or a CB3 for it. You can put one of these in the listing presentation as well. These live in IQO, and it simply says what you get when you purchase a CB2. Who's purchasing it? You are. But what you're trying to say to the seller is, my marketing team, I get 35 photos, including Twilight. I get a Matterport 3D tour. I get mailers, postcards, Facebook posts, ads in a magazine. So putting this in front of them as a leave behind, and maybe you don't even put it in the book, but you just make sure that they keep it, because what you're trying to do is outmarket the other agents they're talking to. There is no better marketing plan in real estate than what our CB1s, 2s, and 3s do. So making sure that they have a copy of this, that you leave behind, whether you leave the listing presentation or not behind, is, I think, essential. We have a few dozen of these printed out sitting here. So it's a grab and go. Oh, I just got a listing presentation. I'm going to grab a CB1, make sure they get it. That way I don't have to remember. It's all right there. Lynn?
And so, do you send that to us in a PDF or something? Because I know I got one in my packet, but I wrote all over it. So where do we get, can you send it so we can print some and all that?
I'll show you where all those are in a moment, okay? Last couple things before I show you how to bind.
And you think it's a good idea that it says $2,500 value?
No. It's dicey. I go back and forth with marketing about that, about whether we should put that on there, because what you don't want is the seller to think that you're making a deal and that you're, well, then if you're making so much money on this marketing packages, how about 5%, right? So that's a good question, and it's one I continue to talk to marketing about. The way that
it could show that you're spending money already on them. I just don't know if that's a good idea or not.
Yeah,
I think it cheapens the value of the package and what you're offering. I think the list is so impressive that they can run through the numbers themselves.
I agree. Particularly our clients.
I don't think it's a good idea.
Yeah.
So we would encourage you to work with marketing to remove that from that document, or have both available.
Yeah, if you're going after a $150,000, $200,000 listing, that number probably seems quite impressive. On a $4 million property, maybe not so much.
Yeah, the upshot of it is like most agents aren't going to know how much they're going to spend, or they're not going to be able to talk about it. You can say, look, I'm going to spend at least $4,000 worth of marketing on your home. I think you're right. It opens up some discussions that you might not be wanting to have. So I'll talk with marketing about that. The other two things before I show you how to bind, you all got 10 copies of the Homes and Estates that you're all in. And Lynn, I think I left the K out. That won't happen again. I'm sorry about that in your name.
Actually, I've got an extra E on one of the properties.
Oh, in the properties itself?
Yep, there's an E on the end of Lynn.
Okay, my apologies.
Yep.
Won't happen
It
again.
happens.
Anyway, I know, like in Sun Valley, we love this, but it's got Steamboat and Vale and Telluride in it, and it's like, so you've got to figure out how to present this. But the fact that we have a company magazine with our high-end listings in it, in all of our markets, I think shows an incredible reach, incredible exposure, and an ability to talk to your clients about, hey, I can reach out to all 250 of my agents about this property, much less the 93,000 that exist in the Coldwell Banker sphere. So showing something like this shows the company's commitment to presentation at a high level, similar to the corporate Homes and Estates, which you should have a few in your office. These are, I think each office gets 10 sent to them by corporate. They're a lot, 300 pages, 200 pages. So you don't want to just be handing these out like hot chocolate passes at the mountain. But bringing these along to say, if you list with me, because you can buy space in these. You heard Craig Hogan talking about that. If you list with me, you'll be here, mixed in with the most glamorous homes in the world.
So I have a question, not the big magazine that you're holding up there, but the company one. I realize that was kind of a prototype first shot out of the gate. I know that anybody who lists with Michael and I personally is going to want to be in that magazine, not just the high end or whatever we want to call them. So in future magazines, will we have an opportunity to purchase space for however, whatever listings we choose, or is it going to be something that is selected by whoever, somebody, that this listing qualifies or that one doesn't?
It's a good question, and well, we don't have the parameters for the next one because I'm still recuperating from putting together the first one. It's meant for global luxury listings. Okay, first and foremost, it's for listings that qualify both from a price point and a smell test, if you will, Lynn, for luxury, right? That being said, I do know that we want to give agents more choice about what they have in there, make it a little bit bigger if there's going to be more money available. So what we don't want to have happen is have mainly high-end homes in there, then diluted by some of a condo that doesn't have any kind of curb appeal. So we're going back and forth with that. The fact that we're doing all 7 markets in one makes it a little. To me, it's not a real estate magazine, as in the things you have available on the streets and Telluride that say what all the local listings are. It's an exposure magazine. It's a magazine to show, as I said a few minutes ago, our expanse and our breadth, and 3 states and that sort of thing. So to me, that's what it is. If you get a buyer from, there's my favorite person in the world, if you get a buyer from that, like, oh my God, I would do flips and I don't even have a trampoline. For me, it's more about a statement you make with listers and buyers and sellers and other agents that we're trying to recruit to say, look, this is what our company's doing.
Right. So I'm sorry, Michael. So, we had talked about perhaps, and Eric, maybe you can speak to this, continuing to do our own office magazine, because I'll tell you, from my standpoint and my clients that I have, for instance, we have a $3 million ranch that has a cute cabin, does not pass the smell test for global luxury, but I would have a really hard time telling that client, you don't get to be in the magazine.
And I would have a really hard time telling you, Lynn, you don't get to be in the magazine. With a $3 million price tag, there's luxury there. You're not, it's not because the trees have a lot of value to a lumber yard or anything. So,
we have properties that are very high priced that do not pass the smell test. And to tell those clients, sorry, you don't qualify, I think that's going to be a really hard sell. And I appreciate the intent of the magazine, totally get it. And so, and Eric, maybe you could say this. So maybe we do continue to do a local office magazine where we can include all of our properties.
Do you create one right now?
Yeah, we have one. Mm-hmm.
Yes, we have one. It's actually, we have both magazines in front of our main door, and I would say ours is picked up about 20-1 over the Coldwell Banker magazine. Yeah. And I was going to ask you, do you guys have your own magazine for your market that includes all your listings?
No, we have. There's really 2 real estate magazines in the area, and our agents pay to be in both of them. One's called the Real Estate Guide, and the other is Sun Valley Property News. But we do not produce our own listing magazine. Sotheby's here in Sun Valley have been doing it. They stopped because of the costs and because stuff turns over and then it's like obsolete. They were printing 2 a year.
Right.
We might do one that lives online.
So here, it's interesting, and I think these are the nuances that you see in different markets and especially different resort communities. Here, all the major offices have their own in-house magazine. The difference between what we've been doing and primarily the other 2 companies, Sotheby's and Christie's, and also Telluride Properties, who produces a huge piece that's almost too much. The difference is because we've used John Lehman in the office and our own printer to print these magazines. What it's allowed us is a great deal of flexibility in terms of properties that have sold or new listings coming online. And what we've thought as our sort of group of 10 is that we would retain John and have him come in maybe once a quarter to update the magazine. He's already gone through it, updated the logo, so everything is now Coldwell Banker. He did that with all our brochures, and I think we as a team may just hold on to him quarterly and updating it. So we need that. We need 100% coverage. We need a document. We need a piece that has 100% of our listings in it for the benefit of our sellers, but also because they're great. People pick them up. We never see them sitting around anywhere in town.
Right. How many pages is that, Karen?
Show the cover to him. No, too close. Pull it back. There you go.
Did you say how many pages?
Josephine's finding how many we have printed in the last, oh, it's echoey. in the last few days?
140 since the first of the month.
We've printed 140 since the first of the month,
Okay.
And they're gone.
and they're gone.
And how many pages
It's
is it?
about 40 pages.
Or less, yeah.
Excellent. Okay, great.
Because
Well,
we keep track of all the printing.
Well, you know what, Garrett,
It's less than 20.
And the other fun thing about it is we're able to, like Carrot says, Telluride Bluegrass. So as our various summer festivals, come along, we're able to, customize the cover, which is really fun. Our Mountain Foam one was great. So it's something unique that we here at Nebraska have been able to do that the other brokerages don't. So it's kind of cool.
But in terms of the company magazine, I'm finding over the last number of years that people are not only looking at this market, they're looking at Steamboat, they're looking at Sun Valley, they're looking at, and that's a good piece to say. Well, if you are looking at that, I have some agents that I can send you to if you're going up there to look at stuff.
right. Yeah.
It picks up a big referral system.
Yeah. No, I agree. I agree. So that's. I'm glad you said that, Michael, because it's easy to go like, well, that's our competition, but when you look at it that way, I think it's very helpful. So,
I think it also demonstrates, what our company is and the fact that we aren't, we represent other markets as well.
right. Real quick, who pays or how much do you pay for the printing of that? It doesn't look like. I mean, it's not cheap.
Eric has paid for it.
Yeah, the office has covered the cost of it, and I can have John do a calculation of how much they are a piece with the paper, because we do it in-house on our own printer. It's just been we never overprint, which is the good part.
Right. You've got great control.
Yeah, because John is going on a very much a part-time basis in another 10 days or so. We may look into seeing what it would cost. We have a pretty good estimate of how many we need. We might check on what it would cost to print it outside the office.
And the other thing, Eric made a good point there that we don't overprint. One of the things when Michael and I were at Sotheby's, those magazines were horrifically expensive, and they would buy in such bulk quantities to try and keep the per unit cost down that we would throw boxes of them away at the end of whatever season it was. It was incredible.
Yeah, I had the same experience because I was at Sotheby's here for 2 years doing that magazine, and you're right. We would order 7,000 in the summer, and we'd end up throwing 3 away. Just really, really hard on the stomach. So that's a good point. Excellent. Does that live online? I'd love to see it. Does your listing magazine live online? No. Okay. All right. Well, we've kind of gotten a little bit off course, which is great because the more I know, the better I can be of service to you. But let's get back to this listing presentation and sort of wrap things up. I know on a Thursday, you guys probably have better things to do than listen to this. You have the machine, which is great. And ROM has some instruction things here for how to use it, and she's going to be making those available to all offices. So you'll never be at a loss for how to do something. It's super, super simple. And I'm not going to sit here and make you, it's like making a waffle. Put all the things in here. You push the spine, you push the thing, you pull the lever, then you let it cool. Was that really interesting? I can do it in a different language if you'd like. But basically, once you put it on that, where that red is, red means hot. You put it on there, the light lit up instantly, and it's going to stay lit until the waffle is ready, until the book is ready. Okay? And then you squish it together, make sure it's all crampy and clampy, and then you just sit it and let it cool. Here's what you can't do. You can't have a listing presentation in 4 minutes and expect Eric or Josephine or anyone to just go do this. Okay? Have a couple ready that you keep in your office. Each office does this differently. like I'm showing you, we have ours back here so that agents can come and do it. But the good agents already have a couple of these ready so that if it arises or if they've totally forgotten, they don't have to sit here and watch the waffle cook. That's a horrible situation to be in for an agent because you just get super stressed about it. Okay. I'm going to show you a couple things in IQO in just a minute, but let's just recap all of this. Eric has already said, and I think this is wise, to go through your listing presentation as a group. And if one of you can be a note taker and send me your thoughts about the next iteration. These only get made once a year because they're huge undertakings because they're customized for all the offices. But each year we try to make it better. We want better information, better graphs, what have you. We don't want to make it any bigger. I think 40 pages is about where most sellers are going to tune out. But when you go through it, if you have good ideas, make sure they don't get lost in the altitude, okay? Make sure they get to us. So you're going to go over that soon. If you want to put together any customized pages, great. If you're good at this and you can make your own CBs that don't have the price tag on there, that's totally acceptable too. Just make sure you're using logos and keeping everything with a higher end look.
Eric?
Yes.
How long does it take for, this is Jeannie, how long does it take for the waffle to cook?
It's a couple minutes. Is all.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Yeah, but you well know, doing things under a time duress, you're going to put the things in backwards, and it's going to be upside down. Your commitment to excellence is going to be commitment to mediocrity. So have things done at the front end. Give yourself time. Okay, I'm going to share my screen for a moment, and I just checked. I'm going to apologize. It doesn't look like all the Telluride structure and scaffolding in IQO is there yet, and it needs to be. So that's going to be something that gets high on marketing's list. So I'm going to show you where to get things if you were a Sun Valley agent, and the only difference is if you go to the Telluride folder. But I'm going to share my screen. Okay, and let's see, I'm going to go here. Okay, so IQO, hopefully you're getting somewhat familiar with this. Please go home so this looks familiar. This is, as I've said 14 times now, and I'm not saying you should know this by now. We've got agents that have been with the company forever and they still don't know how to use IQO or what it's for. This is everything CBDP related. Everything about your day-to-day business should be living in IQO. Your websites, your profile, your listings, your transactions, your documents that you need, all the CV packages, everything lives here in IQO. Okay, so you can spend 10 minutes a day just getting familiar with this. Oh, yay. That would be ideal. These things all live in files. Okay, these are your file cabinets. IQO is your office. It's your digital office, your online office. This bar represents all the file cabinets in your office. And these three up here, your profile and your help links. If you can think of it this way, you're going to make a lot more progress in IQO than most people. Let's see, this is my office. Where does stuff live? Oh, it lives in file cabinets. Let's see, I want some documents. Oh, that lives in my files file cabinet. I go to documents library. So that's the library where everything lives. What you see here are newest documents that the company has uploaded, assuming that maybe you want to see what's new. I had just talked to Jennifer, my OM, about those instructions on the wall. She's already uploaded them into a folder for OMs and MDs to access. I've sent all of you information about the Wealth Engine seminars that Craig Hogan talked about. I uploaded that one sheet yesterday, and it's here. The report, which Craig Hogan mentioned, is the wealth report that Coldwell Banker makes every year. I just uploaded a new version of it. That's right there. Since we've added this office in Telluride or wherever you guys are, no, I'm kidding, we've had to update our leadership roster. So I just uploaded that. That's why. So these things are all the newest documents. Maybe not super germane to you, but at least you can see what's new, and maybe you just want to check it out. Okay. Over here is popular documents. Assuming that if it's popular, it gets used a lot. If it gets used a lot, it's probably useful. So IQO puts popular documents in a window here for you to be able to grab and go, so you don't have to go search for things. Again, assuming that it's got a lot of uses. Okay. All right. What will happen here? You've got a Telluride Office folder here. Okay. A lot of the stuff that we're talking about is going to live here as soon as a couple more things get dialed in. My favorite folder, because I'm Director of Education, is this one, Education. You click on it. There's one sheets. There are more one sheets here than at an orphanage. I don't know why I said that, other than it was the image I got about beds and sheets. But tons and tons of one sheets about how to do stuff lives in this folder. And this isn't office specific. This is how to do your business cards. This is about how to do your CB tools, email etiquette, and best practices. Lynn, if Michael's always using all caps in his emails and you can't get him to not do it, have him read this. How do you email a flyer, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. All that stuff lives in the one sheets. Michael, I didn't mean to pick on you. I just assume if you're like my dad, you use all caps all the time. In this one, in education scripts, all the top areas.
I can take it. I can take it.
I figured you could, as well as some other things about education. So that's my favorite folder. I'm getting a little off track here. We've got about 10 minutes. We're going to go to this folder called Marketing Materials. Okay? And guess what's in here? Marketing Materials. Each office has their own. Here's Bozeman Marketing Materials, Craig. You don't know, Craig's a little, it's where the rednecks live in Steamboat. And we'll have a Telluride here by next week. I'm going to show you the Sun Valley Marketing Materials. Go ahead. No? Okay. Let's assume I'm opening the Telluride Marketing Materials. Here's the AVP, which is that agent value package that I've talked about a couple times. It's the $150 a month, and this is what you get, okay? Agent value package. When you click on these things, here's a little bit of a glitch, and it may be cleared up in the next version of IQ, I don't know. You don't click on it and it opens up. You click on it and it downloads onto your computer. Okay? If that doesn't make sense to you, we probably need to talk one-on-one about what downloading means and how to get them. Here's the Sun Valley listing presentation. If I wanted to send this to a client because they live in New York and I wanted to send the full listing presentation because they need it today, I can't mail them the nice hardbound copy, it lives right here. And here's a really cool thing. Instead of downloading it and trying to send a 40 megabyte file, you see how big that is? You can't send that in the mail. This, whoops, I just clicked it. Didn't mean to cancel. This right here is copy link to clipboard, okay? This is super useful. If I click this button, I get a link, and I'm gonna copy that. Now what I can do is I can send Lynn listing presentation. And I wouldn't do it like that. I'd probably say, here is the listing presentation you asked for. Now list with me, okay? And instead of having this HTTP thing in here, I like to make it a little bit sophisticated. Highlight that, I go down to my links, I insert the link there, I click OK, and now the link lives there and I can get rid of this gobbledygook. To me, it's one step up of sophistication. And Lynn, I'm going to send it to you. And what they'll get is that link, and then they'll be able to download the listing presentation from where they sit, wherever they are in the world. Okay? A couple other things. Those marketing packages that we discussed, the CB1, 2, and 3. CB1 is here, 2 is here, 3 is here. So Lynn, even though your office should have a bunch printed out, if you don't have any, they live in your marketing materials folder. Okay, we have an agent branding package that you can look at there. The other thing that lives in the marketing is the monthly market reports that come out from RPR.
So question, how come all of these items aren't under marketing?
They are, they're just...
No, they're under files.
Because marketing is the actual act of marketing stuff.
I see. Okay.
So the stuff we're looking at are all documents about marketing, about
Okay.
that, okay?
Yeah.
It's a great question. I've never thought of it that way. But marketing is simply, I need to print a flyer. I'm going to do that here. I'm going to email a flyer. I'm going to do that here. I'm going to create a survey, which is marketing. I'm going to do that here. That's for later training. Please don't get your head wrapped around that. But basically, all of these things live in marketing materials, and I will let you know when the Telluride marketing folder is up.
So it's like a waffle for the internet.
It's like a what?
It's like a waffle for the internet.
Yes.
It's an electronic waffle.
Okay. I think I know what you're saying. That's good. Yes. Hey, this is a good one here. Real Trends. Do you guys know what that is? Maybe not, but it's the measure every year of companies. We're in the top 500 in several categories. So of course who's drawing on my computer? That's amazing. So the Real Trends report is right here if you want to read it. Again, you would download it, and then you'd open it from your downloads. It doesn't just pop up, okay? And so on and so forth. So I'm going to stop sharing, and I'm going to stop going too deep into the weeds, because I know, and Eric has said this very nicely, it's like, there's a lot of stuff. I've been with the company 18 months today, just about, and I'm still, I still have to think, wait, how does that work? Where is that? And my job is to know all this. So your job is, I said it in my video Tuesday, if all you do is pay attention to this stuff, you're not doing what you should, which is be on the phone, talk about your merger, talk about Tellurides, know the stats, know the numbers, get people to buy and sell real estate. The rest of this is ancillary. Is this stuff going to help? Yes, but it's only going to help if you're doing that front end stuff. So I'll say that over and over to all of my agents in all the companies. But what I'm hoping is that you can see, A, you've got people that want to help and answer questions and want to make systems simple for you. And B, you can see that you've got systems at your disposal that are going to help inform you about markets, about how to do the job, about scripts, about Instagram. There's a one sheet on Instagram, all of that stuff. That's really the point of all this stuff. So circling back, listing presentations, you've got all the materials, it sounds like. Has anyone seen their bios? Do you know if you have your bios?
Have not seen them.
Okay. All right. I'll check on that.
Our bios, you mean like in IQO, or because we talked about bios being in two different places. One was in, I think, CB Exchange we did with Margaret yesterday. Or are you talking about those ones, the printed?
Yeah.
Yeah, we've not seen those.
We have not seen those.
Okay. All right. They're not simple to generate because marketing has to generate 240, but I'll make sure that they're coming. So,
and so will we have enough, because the bios that are currently for Michael and I were just pulled from the back page of this magazine, so they're pretty brief. I mean, we actually have nearly a full page bio on each of us.
Yeah.
So who do we get that to so that when these are produced, it's the right one and not the abbreviated one?
Typically, they're taken from IQO, and so if
So we should update them there.
yeah, and that
Okay.
should be like in your profile. That should be the
Yeah, I know where that
that's
is.
where marketing gets those, and then you do have the chance to proof your bio and make sure that all the stuff is right.
So in our listing presentation, we'll have two bios. We'll have one for Lynn and one for me as the team.
And just an FYI from our point of view, I don't know when these are going to be worked on, but it's Bluegrass Festival this weekend, and so for the next couple of days, we're going to be pretty occupied. So I probably won't get ours updated till Monday.
Okay, if you want to send me your bios, I don't have a Bluegrass Festival, so I could do that for you. I can just get those. Not that anyone's going to.
She can send you those today.
Yeah, I mean, I just want to go in and look at them and make sure they're updated and say what I want them to say. And I just don't know that I'm going to have time to do that. And, probably.
Yeah. You can use me to do any of this sort of back end stuff. I'm happy to do it. My job is to make your job easier. And if taking some administrivia off your plate does that, I'm happy to be of service. So just keep that in mind. Doesn't mean I'm going to look at your transactions for you or anything, but some of these things that just feel like they're tiny, but they're huge because you haven't done them before and it's a new system. I totally get that. So we want to take some of those things off your plate so you can go do the Bluegrass Festival and such. So, okay, so it's 11:27. What I didn't cover, and I don't think I need to because you all are pros, is what the listing presentation looks like. We're going to have a fan club on that soon because we've got some agents who want to do better at listing presentations in general. But that wasn't the point of this. I hope this satisfied some of what you need from a material standpoint. We've got a lot of work to do in terms of getting your office up to speed, so we'll continue to do that. But I hope this was helpful. So.
Yeah, Derek, thanks so much, because we actually have a couple of properties teed up that I need to create a listing presentation and market and all that. And this is exactly what I needed, because obviously we didn't even know we had the things here.
Yeah.
I knew that there was something, but didn't know what it was. So thank you. This is perfect. Now
And we are really excited. We're very in the beginning about the change, but we are really excited about using all these tools so that in the next 5 years I can retire.
That's excellent.
I mean, it's overwhelming, like you say, but if you go into IQ, like Jeannie says, every day and just click on things and go through them and try to figure those out, it's a huge benefit for all the agents.
Yeah, I agree. If you can get good at 2 or 3 things in IQO, then you're at the top of the list, and then you shouldn't worry about anything more. Maybe property watches. Maybe you want to be able to set property watches up from IQO instead of your Flex or your MLS. I can certainly walk through the office with that at a later date. We got to get all of your listings into our system. I guess your MLS is not connected with IQO yet, so we're working on that. But okay, good enough. What are any of the headlining acts at the festival this year?
go.
I don't know.
Oh, well, Sam Bush is always here, Bela Fleck, Tim O'Brien, leftover salmon, maybe. Who else? Girl that I don't like.
Emmy Lou Harris.
Oh,
is
Emmy
here.
Lou Harris, yeah.
Nice. Oh, you're not a huge fan, Lynn? That was like.
Well, no, one year she's usually at the festival. One year she wasn't even on the schedule, but she literally got on stage and sang with her band. And it's like, enough Emmy Lou. So.
Yeah. JJ, is this a festival you're psyched about? Not from a real estate standpoint, but no? Couldn't care less, huh?
Yeah, we have 8 extra people in our house this weekend, so it's going to be a party. It'll be fun.
Well, I hope they're not all bluegrassy and smelly, but whatever.
Oh yeah, they are. Yeah, that's what they're here for.
Yes, it's all our older kids and their
Yes,
friends.
a bunch of late 20-somethings.
Oh, that's the worst. Oh, they're going to expect you to cook for them and everything too.
We're housing some of them out in the driveway in our pop-up camper. So
It's probably a step up for a lot of them. So, okay.
Yep.
Well, thanks you guys, and we'll just keep at this. Okay.
All right,
Thanks,
thanks,
Derek.
Derek.
Okay. Bye bye.
Thank you so
Thanks,
much.
Derek.
Bye.
Yeah. Bye.